Okay, greetings, brothers and sisters. Tonight is February 18th, 2025. It's about 10 after 8. Session 16, I think it's 16, or maybe it's 17. We'll be reading lesson 16, titled Propaganda, and going over questions from lesson 15, titled Personality. Uh, I'm Brother John, President and Commissioner for District 5, President for Division 421 Atlanta. As always, start with our pledge. If everyone would, please put your black fist in the air. Repeat after me. I commit my body, mind, and spirit to the protection, defense, and security of the red, black, and green.
I commit
I
my
commit my
body,
body, mind,
mind, and
and
spirit
spirit
to the
to the
to the
protection,
protection
protection
defense,
and
and
security
and
of
security
the red, black,
security
of
and
the
green.
of
red,
the red,
black,
black,
and
and
green.
green.
I dedicate my life to the redemption of Mother Africa and the liberation of her scattered black children.
I dedicate
I
Dedicate
my
my
dedicate
life
life
my
to
to the
life to the
redemption of Mother
liberation
Africa
the
and
liberation
the
of her
liberation
scattered
of
of
her
black
Mother
scattered
children.
Africa.
black children.
I accept for myself and my descendants the teachings of universal African nationalism.
I accept
Except
for
for myself
myself
and
and
my
my
descendants,
descendants
the
the
teachings of
teachings of
universal African
universal African
nationalism.
nationalism.
And I promise that our children will be inspired with the purpose and knowledge of themselves as African people.
And I
And I
promise
promise that our
that our
children
children will
will
be
instill
instilled with the
the
purpose and
purpose
knowledge
Of the
and
of
the
African
knowledge of
themselves as
themselves as
African
as
people,
African.
African people.
In order that the cause of our struggle will neither falter nor fail.
in
In
order
order
In
that the
that the
order
cause of
that
cause
the
our
of our
cause of our
struggle
struggle
will
struggle
will
will
neither
falter
neither
or
falter
falter
nor
fail.
nor
fail
fail
So all Black people are free and united.
until
until
all
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 Black
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 people
people
are
are
free and
people
free
are
and
free and
united
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 Through one God,
through
through
one
one
through
God,
one
God,
God,
one aim,
one
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 aim,
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 one destiny.
and
one
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 destiny.
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 Race first.
Race
Grace first.
Race
first.
first.
Great job, everyone. Uh, any questions before we get started on today's lessons? Second to okay. Okay, there you go. Oh, yeah. Look like we got quite a few questions. So let's try to get through this quickly, please, with the answers from the book, from the text. So we're going over lesson 15 titled Personality. First question.
Sorry, President John.
Yes.
Sister Cecily has a message in the chat that we need a prayer.
Ah, no problem. Sister Cecily, would you like to lead us in prayer, please? Or would you want someone else?
I'm sorry, I couldn't come off mute. Okay, I got one for y'all. I'm gonna let it flow from the heart, okay?
Thank you.
Mother, Father, God, creator of all that is, thank you for this gathering. Thank you that we have this time and space to share together with each other. Um, Invite our ancestors into this meeting with us. Infuse it with your grace, Lord. Let it be fruitful and magnificent. And so it be. Ashe.
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 Thank you.
Ashe.
Thank you, Dr. Kudu, for pointing that out, and thank you, Sister Cecily, for the suggestion. Always got time for prayer. Okay, lesson 15, personality. The lesson starts out, Mr. Garvey saying, a thing to impress the world with is your personality. What should your personality make people think about us? What should our personality make people think about us? According to what Mr. Garvey says. First paragraph, I'm sure. What we got on? Y'all gonna make me start calling people out, Lady President?
That we are self-loving, caring organization.
Very good and very true. In regards to personality, Mr. Garvey says that we should leave a certain impression upon people. Dr. Kuda?
And that as we leave a certain impression upon people, we ourselves are supposed to be perfect in the things we do.
Absolutely.
And I think that kind of gives me the motivation that we can confront anybody on this earth because we aspire to be those perfect people. We don't want to be seen doing wrong. So if you know you are always on track, it gives you the courage and the energy to approach even people higher than you because you know you're on track. So we should always try to be perfect people.
Absolutely. Let me read it from the text. Thank you, Dr. Kuda. Very well stated. A thing to impress the world with is your own personality. So we should impress the world with our personality. Your makeup as a man or woman must be so clean cut as to leave nothing to suggest the incompleteness of a perfect person. Obviously, we're not going to be literally perfect, but the fact that we are striving for these types of goals, these lofty achievements, the lesson on universe, leadership, character, Christ, intelligence. So we shouldn't be anywhere near average, so to speak. We should be examples in our community and examples in this society. Anyone else? Any questions? Something in the chat. I just need to fix this. So let's just get this page by itself.
I think I also read somewhere, I don't know if it's in the lesson, that as much as it says our outlook, our makeup, meaning our dress code, how we present ourselves, we should always, aim to look good. And
Yes.
it said somewhere, even if you wear the same clothes over and over,
Hold
as
on.
long as they're well
Yeah,
presented.
hold on. Save that because that's a question. But yes, we're gonna talk about that. But perfect person, and Dr. Kuda, thank you for that elaboration because it's not only mental but also in our physical as well as attire, our makeup, and our presentation. Mr. Garvey urges us to strive for excellence. Any questions or comments? Perfection, absolutely. Any questions or comments? And that's biblical as well. Be ye perfect as something was perfect, but perfection, personality. Okay. This is a quote. Man is always disposed to respect and honor those who show themselves observant of all the rules of manly blank and blank. What is the answer here? So manly. Thinking etiquette? I really don't know, but it's in the book. Yeah, I was close. 1 second, Dr. Kuda. Everybody got their books. We got a free PDF version. This should be this is right after the first question. Brother Eric. iPad, hold on. iPad 2 is who? Anybody know who iPad 2 is? iPad 2. 10 seconds. Brother Eric, you got to answer this question. Attorney Motep.
Dignity
And
and character.
absolutely. Thank you, Attorney Motep. Dignity and character. Lady President, were you going to say that?
I will. Brother Emotep beat me to it.
Dignity and character. Thank you, Brother Eric. Thank you, Attorney Motep and Lady President. Um, got you. All right. Thank you, Brother Eric. But he ready. Um, so that's just a direct quote. The beginning of the next paragraph. You know, take it as such. Man is always disposed to respect and honor those who show themselves observant of all the rules of manly and womanly dignity and character. So it's just urging us to be these individuals, and we, that'll be a aid and assistance for us to be respected, honored, accepted, and also followed. So Mr. Garvey is laying it out for us simply how we should behave in our character. Okay, next question. Share back. Brother Eric said he's got this one. Okay. Why should we always be clean cut and presentable? So again, we're talking about the physical appearance.
I actually think I know this. Can I answer?
Yes, Brother Eric, it's a long one to type.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You good? Okay. Well, he got something. Yeah, he said, yeah, you got it.
No, I'm sorry. Ask me the next one.
Oh,
I
wow.
forgot he was in chess.
No, he don't want this one. Oh, nobody want this one.
Oh, okay. Well, this is a guess based on what I think I previously heard. Okay. You don't want to not look presentable because you're a leader. And when you go out, people are looking for your flaws. So just don't have any.
In a sense, that would be a creditable answer. So, anyone else want to add to that?
That is true, what Sister Cicely says, but it also adds to your confidence level, your personal confidence.
Mhm.
You don't want people to conclude that you're a slack person.
Yes, it goes on both sides. How people see you as well as how you see yourself. Garvey perceived as perfect.
That's right.
So, it's said by philosophy, cleanliness next to godliness. There will always be clean cut in your appearance. When you meet others, and particularly in the public, never be slack in your appearance at any time in a meeting or another person or persons. Be neat and clean in appearance, even in your own household, because the moment you throw off the reserve of your personality, you invite disrespect for your person. But yes, this is a common theme, as I think Brother Eric noticed. This is second time going through the course, so and Sister Cecily pointed out as well, even without being verbatim in this lesson, we know from previous lessons that our perception is important. So if we have holes in our clothes, people are going to look at a certain way, and then Garvey even said they they're going to think that if they give you money, you're going to use that money to fix your to get better clothes. So both of those things, how people perceive you as well as how we perceive ourselves. In one lesson, you're a giant and a master, or something. He says something about being clean and confident, and willing to take on the world. So both sides. But again, this is just more of an excuse, or more of taking away that excuse of not knowing that our presentation is important. So I don't have to say certain things. I don't have to say, we need to brush our hair, brush our teeth, try to have clean clothes, even if it's only one suit, which we'll talk about later. But do our best when we're pretty much all the time is what Garvey's saying, but I'm saying especially when it comes to representing the organization. Moment you throw off the yeah, okay. When we present ourselves, what is the world always looking for first? It's an easy one. That's the chat action. Flaws. All right. I think we got two correct answers.
Defects.
Yeah, defect. We can get into there's several words. I understand what we're saying. You don't have to be verbatim. Always appear your best, even though you may be suffering under the greatest difficulty, strain, because that very good can cause someone to help you, I'm sure. Yeah, get support. Never let your difficulties weigh you down and forget presentableness of your personality. The world is always looking for defects. Before they tabulate your virtues, see to it that nothing is defective about your appearance, from your shoes to your dollar, from your toes to your head, your nails, your mouth. For in search of this, they will strike upon the one defect. Yeah, so defects, flaws. Yes, they're looking for something wrong, which is natural. And we should understand that and expect that. Any questions so far? Okay, so again, as leaders, as spokesmen, as representatives, when someone asks you, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Representative of Atlanta, what are your thoughts? And you get up to speak, they're analyzing your entire person, not just what you say and how you say it, but how you're dressed, how you smell. Honestly, let's be real. So we're always being criticized, and we should always be expecting criticism. Dr. Kuda?
I just want to share that how I've put this into practice. After Brother Omesis read this for us in the last class, when I went for my realtor exam on the 12th of this month, I put on my mink coat because as a realtor, I know you need to look presentable. And as much as I cannot afford to go for pedicure and manicure so often, I looked at my nails and I was like, oh my God, I don't have time now to file these nails, but at least they are short. They look a little bit tidy. But it was on my conscience, you know, that as I walk in there, I don't want them to see anything wrong on me when I walk into this realtor board of Staten Island. I want to look presentable. I want to look that class that is going to be able to speak with clients, because they entrusting, they trust in you for you to help them decide on buying a home. So this lesson helped me. I was very conscious about that the day I went to write that exam. It wasn't like I usually would just go to a place without thinking that they're going to be scrutinizing me, how I look, from head to toe. It's because of this lesson when it was read in our last class that it made me conscious that, Elizabeth, take note, even your nails are important. People look at that.
Yep. And
Even though I don't have manicure, pedicure, but let them be clean, short filed, they don't have to be polished with colorful nail polish, even as white as they are, as long as they are clean and neat. Thank you.
Yes, and a very good point about being conscious. But what we have to understand, and what Mr. Garvey is reminding us, others are always conscious of our appearance. So we must be more conscious and diligent in regards to our appearance. Okay. To maintain good personality, you must maintain all the rules of what? I think I know this one. I remember this one. To maintain a good personality, you must maintain all the rules of nobody. Hygiene. Thank you, Dr. Kuda. Yeah, that's what I thought it was. Hygiene. So now we're, getting back into cleanliness. But again, it's all hand in hand. These are the defects that individuals are looking for. So even if it's a hygiene defect, you could have the best suit, saying the best words, But if you're not, taking care of your hygiene, all that's going out the window in regards to, or leadership and organizing. You may convince people from afar, but once they get close enough, you won't be able to maintain that. To maintain a good personality, you must observe all the rules of hygiene. Um, Personal sanitation adds to confidence in you and complete satisfaction. So not just for others, but for yourselves. This is very deep. We can go a lot of ways with this. Booker T. Washington comes to my mind, and Up from Slavery when he talked about the benefits of learning hygiene behavior, brushing his teeth, washing his clothes, and how that gave him confidence. But your appearance adds to your personal confidence. With this personal confidence, you may face the world and win. With personal defects, you naturally lose confidence and lose generally. So yes, just the elimination of defects. We know, when we have a hole in our shoes or a hole in our shirt or we spill something on ourselves, we don't feel, as confident as if we had our cleanest white outfit, and we were, had a good shower, brushed our teeth, brushed our hair, had everything lined up and everything. That's when we're on the top of our game. And Mr. Garvey encourages us to try to maintain and promote those behaviors, which include hygiene. So any questions? It's very direct, very clear. It's not we just read the lesson on universe where we were stretching our imagination. Now we're getting very practical. We're talking about hygiene. And one thing that I forgot to explain to y'all in regards to the lessons, we're going now into phase 3. So let me go back to that really quick. So we just finished up what I would consider phase 2. Page 184, huh? There we go. 3 phases of the course. Phase 2, community development, foundation in social systems, diplomacy, interacting with other systems, economy, having some form of individual finance and reserve, but not only for yourself, but also for your organization. Because as we're going out, we have a society, we're practicing diplomacy. Our finances are going to be important. Can we afford to rent out a space? Can we, if 3 groups are coming together saying, hey, we want everybody to put $500 towards this program, can we, do that? Understanding as we go out and interact, understand the what Garvey called the wickedness of man and how that can only, or the best way to resolve that is through education. Institutions, how institutions are what I would consider the production centers or intelligence production centers, not only from a school standpoint, but just in regards that institutions are designed for a specific purpose of the society. So the fact that society was willing to come together and consider something important enough to have an institution, I consider that um, an integral part of that society. And we should understand that and understand our institutions that we have, as well as the institutions that we need. Again, universe, thinking outside the box, continuing to expand our thinking, self-initiative, doing for ourselves, not waiting for others to do for us. So, in regards to making these connections in our community, we should be doing that. We shouldn't be waiting for someone to tell us to do that. And then personality. Okay, so personality is the last thing. I thought we were talking about propaganda. Propaganda is phase 3. So personality is finishing up community development. But I would consider, it's perfect, when you understand. For me, looking at how the development of the lessons go, and I look at personality as a good capstone to community development, but also a good entryway into global nationhood. Because again, as we're going out, interacting, organizing, traveling from city to city, we need to be practicing good hygiene and then having a good appearance. So, all right, that's what I was trying to get to. But I thought we were on lesson 16. So we were on 184. All right, to maintain good personality, you must maintain all the rules of hygiene. We've had some issues with individuals that desire positions of leadership with that. We can't. That's in the past. What leadership characteristic does your appearance affect? And we just I think we just read this already. What characteristic, but specifically a leadership characteristic, does your appearance affect? From the chat. Confidence. Dr. Kuda has got it. Great answer, Dr. Kuda. I had to put Dr. Kuda in timeout. She's making it too easy for y'all. Personal sanitation adds to confidence in you and complete satisfaction. Your appearance adds to your personal confidence. With this personal confidence, you may face the world and win. With personal defects, you naturally what? Lose confidence and lose generally. So when we talked about the characteristics of leadership, one of those characteristics is confidence. And Mr. Garvey is letting us know right now, your hygiene and your appearance is directly related to that. So we can't just read all the books that we want and think that we just have confidence from our intellect. We can't just have. I don't think you can have good relationships with people without having good hygiene. I was thinking that you can, have confidence based on your social status, but I don't see a person gaining high social status if you can't maintain good hygiene. So, all right, confidence was the answer. Yes, we want to have the highest confidence we can in ourselves and others in us. What does perfect personality made through the proper care of oneself give us? If we have perfect personality made through proper care of oneself, what does that give you? I think this is what I was trying to say earlier. I really don't know the answer to this one. This is a
Confidence.
confidence, yeah, but I'm sure I wouldn't have confidence twice back to back. Passport to anywhere. That's what, okay. That's where I was going with that one. There we go. Thank you, Brother Eric.
Socially and otherwise.
I know Dr. Kuda had that on the standby. Yeah, socially and otherwise, absolutely. Perfect personality made through proper care of oneself is a passport to anywhere in the world, socially and otherwise. So, as we are, again, as we're organizing, we will have to travel, we will have to interact, we will have to engage. And Mr. Garvey is making it clear, if we have a perfect personality. And again, Mr. Garvey is defining personality. It's not just, charisma. Also, that I mean, it could be synonymous because I couldn't imagine someone having bad hygiene or having good charisma. I could see someone having quote unquote a bad appearance, but they still have good charisma, but not bad hygiene. But yeah, again, we want doors to be open to us. We don't want to have the perception of um, unclean, not maintaining ourselves, um, so forth. Hope very straightforward, very clear, but this is this can be a tough lesson to go over. But Mr. Garvey took the time to write it out, so we must go over it. Any questions on that? So passport to anywhere, socially and otherwise. Okay. We want, we want open doors.
Uh, I don't know if maybe we'll be a little bit off track, but when I visited my doctor yesterday, we were talking a little bit about, how um, Some people want some dual citizenship, maybe from one country to another country. A good example when we're talking about ourselves in the UNIA, when maybe we want to be based in one other African country. Things that he mentioned, he said, there should be a process, a screening process that when people are being given citizenship in another country, you have to, these very qualities we are talking about, that you have to care of oneself, have that um, skill is another one, that you come with a scarce skill or something, but it's important for you, like we watched on the CBPM meeting we had on Sunday. We watched Angela Davis and we saw the young men in the prisons. You know, some of some of them are there innocently, some of them are there because they really did commit the crime. So how do we empower our youth to keep them away from doing criminal activities and finding themselves behind bars? And while they are out here, how do we help them to be this character that Gavi is telling us about, to be this perfect person, to be well presentable? Because that, if we say that is your passport to anywhere in the world, then we need to help our people to get to that level. But the addition I wanted to put is that if you're thinking of going anywhere in the world, these are the checklist to say, I need you, for myself as an individual, I need to be able to check this off and say, okay, Elizabeth, yes, you are crime free. Oh, you drug free. You, although I might not have a scarce skill, or I might, so having a scarce skill is even a big advantage. So when we're looking at dual citizenship in another country, like I'm here from South Africa, there's some skills that I have with me that I can offer to America. The same applies when our brothers and sisters, want to go to the continent. There's some expectations, and some of those expectations are these what we are reading right here. That's all I wanted to raise, that we should really take this seriously.
Yes. Great point, Dr. Kuda. Um, and I understand what you're saying, and we will get there. But we must first understand the primary, and the primary has to be us as individuals. How can we bring something to a group of people if we haven't fully tested it ourselves, or we haven't fully, I'm not going to even say we have to master it, but we should have as my last year's students will know, a high level of proficiency of the information. So we have to learn it first. We have to exercise and practice the principles first before we can, begin to impart them on our brothers and sisters. That would be what I would say.
Thank you. That helps as well. Thank you, President John.
Yes. And again, when you look at the history of the course, this is from Mr. Garvey himself. And look at his approach as to how he implemented the course. When I first heard about it and I started reading about it, I thought that he would have had big classes, classes with, all members or all quote unquote leadership. But Mr. Garvey, in his first class, he had 11 students, 10 students graduated. In the second class, he only had 7 students. So, um, I try to understand that approach. And, you know, it always has to be upfront. It has to be quality has to be the primary over the quantity. If we have 1,000 people that know this, but don't know it very well versus 100 people that know it very well, I'm gonna go with the 100 people that know it very well. And that's what we're trying to create. Even Garvey said that. He said, In 1937 in the speech, I think he was speaking to the people in Ontario. He was saying his goal was to have, even after he had the millions of members, in 1937, he said his goal is to have 100 Marcus Garveys. So it has to be a inception of leadership, and that group is the group that will spread this message to the masses. Okay. But yeah, we have to learn it and we have to master it first. And the best way to do that, in my experience, is in small groups. We can ask these intimate questions. We can take our time and really do our best to understand what Mr. Garvey's trying to communicate and trying to achieve. Next question. What should we not do on a public platform? What's something that you should not do on a public platform, according to Mr. Garvey? There's several things that you could say here. That would be correct, but there's only one that Mr. Garvey had.
Eating in public.
Eating,
Well,
pretty sure that was it. Yes, eating in public. Um, any questions on that? Garvey does elaborate. There are times in which we will, it's okay to eat. We have dinners even within the UNIA. But if it's a public gathering, let's try to, and others aren't, it's not an eating setting. Let's not be the one person that can't control themselves. Questions on that?
he was mainly referring also to eating while you're talking.
1 second.
Like walking around and eating food in your hand.
Yes. Never go eating in the street. Never go into company and expose your bad manners in any direction. Try to suppress those bad manners. Leave them at home. Eating and talking are bad manners in public, which are excusable and proper at the dining table. So if the distinction between what's acceptable in a dining setting versus a public setting. Everybody clear on that? A good example, which hasn't happened, but if we're at HEC or convention and somebody's munching on popcorn or something, obviously that's not you don't want to do that. You don't want to be that person. So that would be an example I can think of, but again, that hasn't happened.
And also chewing gum.
Absolutely, yeah, chewing gum. Is that close where he talks about that? I do remember him saying that. No matter how hungry you are, yeah. Public platform is not a restaurant nor a dining room. Don't eat or chew gum in people's faces. It's always an ugly sight and shows gross disrespect for company. You may chew your gum in your home, but not on a public platform, nor at a public meeting. So just having the difference between public gatherings, public platform, public meeting versus a private or dining situation. So let's save the certain etiquette for the dining room. Any questions, comments? We clear? Again, this is not my, it's not my recommendations. Hold on. Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. It was something in chat, personal in chat. So, let's see. Next question. How many suits do we need? Also, how and why should we maintain our suits? How many suits do we need first? According to Mr. Garvey in his time. It's an easy one. Absolutely, Dr. Kuda. One suit So Dr. Kuda helped us with one suit. Lady President, Brother Eric, how do we maintain our suits? Or why should we maintain our suits? Sorry.
Because it's not a matter of how many you own, it's a matter of how well you maintain what you own.
I'm sorry. Absolutely. How is clean? How clean it is every day if you have to? Why is saving money in circumstance? Take care of what you have. Yeah, absolutely. Take care of what you have, I think, is a great summary. And don't spend money if we don't need to. Is also another aspect to it. But take care. Yeah, I think take care of what you got is critical to be presentable. Man with good appearance walks down the street with pride, self-confidence, self-respect. Man with dirty shirt. That's not where I was at. No. It is better for the public to say, quote, that man has been wearing that suit for a year, but it has always been well kept. And for the public to say that man changes his clothes, but he is always dirty. Never go, wait, that's not where he talks about one suit. Nope. All right, I can't find it in the book, but we understand. Okay, one suit well kept. What does Garvey mean when he says that we should disappoint the public audiences? What did he mean by that? We should disappoint the public audiences.
By giving them the best you have in character, which is basically your clean cut, your outward expression, your outward how you represent yourself outwardly.
Where is that at on the book?
Um, top of page 121,
21. Okay, thank you.
like the end of the first paragraph.
Thank you. There you go. Yep, there we go. So, yes, and thank you in the chat. As we discussed, when we are on the public stage, people are always looking for defects. And that's what Mr. Garvey is saying here in regards to disappoint them. Disappoint them in the essence that there are no defects to be found. Disappoint them always by giving them the best you have in character, which is outwardly represented by your clean cut appearance. So they're looking for something to be out of place, but everything is tight. So that it's kind of a trick question. Obviously, we don't want to, as most people would think, disappoint people or disappoint the public. But in regards to them looking for a defect, we have to disappoint them. So, any questions or comments there? Yeah, unfortunately, no, you will not find the defects you're looking for here. Scrutinize Lee head to toe, back and front. Disappoint them always by giving them the best you have in character. What was the story of the two beggars? What was Mr. Garvey saying with that story?
He was basically saying that even though they're both beggars, the one that looks presentable shows that he will use the money wisely versus the one that's all raggedy. shows that he wouldn't put the money to good use.
Yeah. So again, he's coming from the other end of the observer, and if he was to help someone, he would give more to the one that he felt would handle and invest the funds wiser. So just a reminder for us to always be on our best appearance, especially when we're asking for assistance. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. So page 121, I just got the page. What are some things we should never make it a custom to carry and why? Dressing your face, yeah. Yep. Um, stressing your face and why? Because they can tell. All right, fair enough. Never make it a custom to carry distress in your face or your eyes. Never carry yourself to suggest despondency and overburdening sorrow. People will shun you. Keep smiling. Keep being pleasant all the time, even if you are dying. It is better to be a pleasant corpse than a hideous, ugly-looking one. Show distress only when you may win help from those you approach, but be sure you have struck a right estimate of your sympathy. But again, we're trying to exude this perfection. And Mr. Garvey said it earlier, said something about even if your mother is dying or even if your mother died, the world doesn't owe us anything, and we can't, always, I guess, expect a pity party. It says, must estimate the sympathizers. To show sorrow to those not interested is to drive them away from you. Never show it to those who are not interested. But personality, character, perception, again, I think that's a big synonym for this lesson. It comes down to the feelings, the thoughts that people get when they think of your name. Are they a good person? Are they a happy person? Are they charismatic? Are they fun to be around? Are they positive? Or are they, well, despondent, I think is one word, but are they negative? Are they, just always doom and gloom? So, Garvey is promoting for us to be of the former, to be the light, as we talked about in the lesson on universe, the darkness is in man. There must be light to lighten the darkness. And we must be that light. So personality is where. Okay. All right, a couple more questions, and we get to our reading. I think I tried to set it up for 2 lessons today. We'll see how it goes. Distress in your face, despondency, or overburdening sorrow. People will learn to shun you. But again, we want that passport to anywhere in the world, and showing the distress and carrying distress is the opposite. If we are going begging for a cause like the UNIA, what must we not do? I don't remember the answer to this one, but I think I remember it. Don't beg first, it said. Well, I think this is beyond that. Don't come as a beggar. Nah, it's different. It's different. I see it. I'm there now. Page 122. We are going begging for ourselves. Did I put that in there? Or is this for the UNIA? Oh, hold on. Wait, I gotta read this. I don't know if I got the right answer. Sorry, 1 second. Don't come as a beggar. Yeah, that's what I read as well. Don't reveal as a personal. Okay, I think that might be better. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah, don't go as a personal beggar. Yeah. The first one I read, thank you, Brother Eric. Great job. If you are going begging for yourself, don't go flashily or overdressed. So I thought it was don't go flashily or overdressed. But keep in mind the kind of impression you would like to make upon a benefactor. This is purely a question of judgment. So that's begging for yourself. If you are going begging for a cause like the UNIA, you must not go as a revealed beggar. You would cause the person to say to himself, why should I give money for a cause when he looks like someone who begs for himself and cannot be trusted with such philanthropic responsibilities for others? So we must look the part, especially when we're speaking on behalf of the organization. Very clear, very straightforward. If we don't, it'll affect our perception and how people think we will handle those funds. Any questions on that? We'll proceed.
That's very important, President John. And I would like you to please expand on that.
You would like me to?
What does it say? We shouldn't go as a revealed personal beggar?
Yes.
Meaning, when it says revealed personal beggar, could you break that down, please?
I would argue that's speaking to the previous paragraph. You're in a you're in a situation to be a beggar. I would say revealed is would be synonymous with obvious, but don't be an obvious beggar when we're begging for a cause like the UNIA. This is more. Go ahead, Brother Morgan.
I was going to say too. Sometimes when he mentioned the personal beggar part, people will come to the association who are philanthropic, and we kind of direct them toward our personal needs, and toward looking out for us and not the cause, and kind of seem like is some ulterior motives, and approach them a certain kind of way. And if you're not, if you look like you can, if John, President Hargrove came to somebody looked like he barely had a day, and he talking about the Black Cross Nursing Program, are you going to use this money for yourself? I tell people sometimes, even when I used to be the Jehovah's Witness, sometimes I remember one brother had went and tried to sell some of the Bibles, the New World Translation, New World Order, whatever translation Bible we had, to a guy at the door one time. And the guy said, okay, I'll buy one. In fact, I'll buy two, one for me and one for you, because yours is tore up. And sometimes when you approach people about things, you want to look like it's really for the cause and not because you need it.
No, everybody can hear me?
I can't.
Sister Diane, turn your...
I can hear him. Thank you.
I was muted. Yeah, I muted.
Let me see if I can make it a little. Is that better?
It's good for me.
Yeah, that also sounds better.
Oh, okay. Yeah, did you hear anything I said, or the whole thing muted?
I heard it. Lady President, did you hear him?
I heard him also.
I heard him.
Okay. Well, yeah, I ain't want to repeat the whole thing, if everybody got it. But yeah, I mean, you don't want to appear to be I know of certain incidents. I don't want to really get into it, but there are times where people who are waving around money and they want to donate to the cause, and sometimes, people kind of jump in front of that and want to direct the money towards something more personal to them than organizational needs.
For some
And
reason, I'm not hearing a
sometimes,
thing right now, but it's cool.
oh wow,
We can hear maybe
I can hear.
drop out and come back.
okay, yeah.
Hey, brother.
Well, I mean, I can just rest it there for everybody else, I guess. But, but yeah, so I mean, sometimes we want to make sure we also look like we're, um, not trying to audition for the funds ourselves, but actually, directing the needs of the association, and we're going to be competent facilitators of that contribution.
You're breaking up, brother.
What it's going to be, and, okay, maybe it's located.
Yeah, now you're
Um,
breaking up a lot.
oh, really?
Yeah,
Speak closer to the phone, maybe.
it's a signal, I think. Okay, he dropped off. He probably jumped back on. But I think the point to, what he was saying in regards to fundraising for the organization, we're going to, as we, raising funds for Black Cross nurses, raising funds for African Legion, raising funds for youth programs, Liberty Hall, African Motor Corps. How is someone going to take us serious if we look like we need the funds? Oh, so, it's going to be hard to ask these philanthropic individuals to contribute thousands of dollars, if we don't look the part. Dr. Ku, does that help?
It helps, but I'm not satisfied yet. But it helps. Thank you. It helps. So what you just raised now, then how do we move forward if we don't have anything? How do you then? Are we always going to be looked at as we don't, where do we stem from?
We already went over this. This is in previous questions. I think Sister Ebony, I see you got your hand up.
Greetings, family. I love y'all, miss y'all. I was watching on the live and I wasn't gonna come in, but I had to comment on. Okay, I just heard someone say, "Well, how are we supposed to get funds when we look like we need funds ourselves?"
Yes.
Okay, wait a minute. Wait. First of all, in Garveyism, we always supposed to be at our best. Isn't that one time when we out here advocating for anything in Garveyism or nothing that we doing as leaders that we looking like we are less in our hygienic stance, that we are less than clean and crisp, because that is the way of Garveyism. So if we are looking poor, then we are for sure begging, because we are not at our toppest peer of our leadership when we are out advocating for what President said, the Motor Corps, the Black Cross nurses, the African Legion, and so on and so forth. When we are in these presence, because you have to understand, when we are in these energies of Garveyism, we have to be able to repeat Garveyism. So we're not just standing there being ourselves. We are being personified Garveyites. We are Marcus Garvey personified. So everything that comes out of our mouth and everything that we are doing is of prestige. So I just want to say that and remind everybody of that. I had to jump off the live to come in my comment. So race first, y'all. Love y'all.
Very well said, Sister Ivory. Love you too.
Love you too. Race first.
We can, what's your thoughts? And what I was trying to say is, in regards to it being addressed earlier, let me go to that. Now, I know, none of us are where we want to be in life, especially financially. But Mr. Garvey says right here on question 9, how many suits do we need and why should we maintain our suits? We have to get in the practice of maintenance. Even if it's only 1 or 2 good outfits that we have, 2 good jackets, 1 pair of jeans, 1 good pair of shoes. we must, maintain at least what we have. And that is what we utilize when we go out into the world. Mr. Garvey even said it, if they may see us a couple times in the same clothes, but it's going to be clean, and we're going to be smelling good as well.
That's right.
We do the best with what we have. And I think that's very key. And um, we definitely don't use it as an excuse to not go out and do the work. There's something that we all have in our closets that we maintain and keep of the best quality, I would argue. Dr. Kuda?
Thank you, former Lady President Bryabney. Thank you, President John. But I'm still, and also Brother Moriyama, PG Moriyama, thank you. But I'm still lacking something. Maybe it's because I'm looking at it from the position where I am in now as international organizer. And I think that's why I'm getting stuck, because I'm looking from that angle. But I think so far I'm satisfied with what has been shared. Thank you.
Yes, and you got to, Sister Rodney, I got you, but we have to be careful of looking at things from that position of lack. We can't necessarily be concerned about what we don't have and what we could have, but we must do the best and take care of the things that we do have. Sister Rodney?
Okay, Dr. Kuda, if I could comment on that, President John, if I may. The point of organizing anything that you do in under any structure, any stance, is to have structure. So with that structure, people are going to ask, well, what do you need money for? That's where a business plan comes into play, or that's where the guidelines or the syllabus or the objective of what you're doing comes into play. So you don't have to have anything. People literally stand on the corner with just a dream written down on paper. So whatever that you have from point column A, this is what we're doing, the overall thing, and it breaks down into detail. This all comes from your mind. You don't have to have any money. You don't have to have it. Like we earlier in my leadership, back in 2021, 2022, 2020, 2021, me and Brother Macy is when we used to sit and build. He asked me one time, he said, what is the number one thing sold in America? And I said, what? He said, a dream. So if my biggest thing to sell is a dream, greetings, Brother Macy, as I just mentioned you. If the number one thing to sell is a dream, then I mean I don't have no money in my pocket. Because a dream starts from a thought. A thought comes from within, which is from the Almighty source. So that's basically saying what it says in African philosophy about God and listen to your intuition and also such things. If your intuition says go out and say this and say that, you're going to bring people to you, then you have to do just that. It's about following and having detail of your following. If I'm supposed to give something, then this is what I'm going to give, and boom, 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 boom. It's giving something of substance for people to follow. So I hope I expressed that well. Race first.
That's first. That's first. But yeah, I think there's levels of presentation. And Dr. Kuda, uh, the emails that you've been sending out, that's a form of presenting yourself. And you've done that very well and professionally. So that's why I'm a little confused. And we even HEC, we've gone to HEC. So I've seen your attire and your presentation. And I know that you have, some items that are professional and presentable. So I'm a little confused from the lack aspect. And again, I know we can always do better. I want, better suits and nicer cars and all that stuff, but that don't mean I'm not going to take care of, the little car I got out there and the little suit I got upstairs. So.
If I may just clarify, President John, I think my point is, if you are trying to mobilize resources for the organization, that you see that we do not have certain resources. That was my point that I was trying to put across. But the way Brother Mariama was explaining, I was getting from there that he spoke about if a person is mobilizing money for Red Cross nurses and those resources don't go exactly to Red Cross. I was still listening to that because I think there's a little bit of it there. But at the same time also, I also wanted the clarity on, like Lady President just said, that you got to have your structure. So when you do request for funding, you are requesting for funding knowing that it's going to go here, there. So I like what she responded. I also like what Brother Mariama said, but I think it's just a little bit pieces here and there. And I think as we go, as we continue to educate ourselves through you, we will be learning more. And I think I'll be more sharp and I'll understand the approach better. At this moment, I just needed to hear it come out, like the subject we were talking about was, let me see, if we are going begging for a cause like the UNIA, what must we not do? And it's like,
Can you hear me any better now?
Yeah, you're a little clearer for me.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, if I can finish, I guess what I was alluding to. If, for I guess an example, Dr. Kuda, if I were to come to you at a stoplight while you're in the car going home to work or wherever, and say, "Excuse me, ma'am, I got on holes in my shoes, my breath stink, my clothes are dirty," and I say, "Yeah, I'm the director of a institution where we trying to raise $1 million and do this for other people and help, people get their hygiene together and all this kind of stuff." You're gonna look at me and say, "You manage a multi-million-dollar. You want me to give you $1 million of my money so you can go manage all this stuff, and you can't even, like, come on now, you think I'm an idiot? Obviously you're going to use it for your own personal needs because you ain't got your stuff together." So I mean, the point I guess Mr. Garvey is trying to make, I guess, is that look the part. Don't come to me telling me you got, like you say, the dreams or things you want to do, but you had no plan on how to implement it. You have no accounting background on how to file it, and am I getting 501c3? I mean, are you really an administrator of this type of fund? Do you know what to get, where to get these materials you want to use for Black Cross or whatever? How do I know you know anything? You're not showing me that you're even serious coming to my car like this. Why don't you just have a formal fundraising event and explain to people with a package what you're trying to do or something like that? You have it formal looking and not just expecting people to be, I guess, that trusting or that confident just because you say something that, you are the right person, the qualified person to handle things. You have social work background and you can explain some of your plans, but again, everybody got game. Everybody got some kind of hustle. And if you look like you're coming there to hustle somebody out of some money, people are not going to grant that money, even if you are serious and have a good cause. You should just look like you know what you're talking about and, really know what you're talking about and try to be professional, courteous, and be able to answer questions, have a perspective if you got something you want them to invest in or whatever. But, just look, don't just look the part, basically, I guess is the main thing as far as the appearance, the appearance. And don't come, looking like anything. Like you just woke up out of bed and, whatever. I'm not giving my money to just anybody. I want somebody who knows what they're doing and will optimize use of the money and, maybe have some kind of background in the type of profession they claim to be soliciting resources for, but not just anybody. So I don't know if that was too harsh a point, example or whatever, but I guess you understand it, how I'm projecting it, Dr. Kuda?
Hey, Ken,
yes.
when you
Yes.
go to it, because you be
Okay.
careful with that curtain because you knocked that picture off the wall. You just left it on the floor.
You're good. We had a little background. Dr. Kuda?
Yes, it's clear. It's clear. Thank you, Brother Mariama. That was very clear.
Sister
Thank
Ryan, you got your hand up.
Well, I wouldn't. Well, to add on to what Brother Kamal, just to just to hint on more of what the international organizing, what Dr. Cooler is saying. To add on what Dr. Mama, just like as far as resources and organizing internationally. So in my other UNIA circles, we have Sierra Leone, and in Sierra Leone, they were needing a water tower or something for they big buildings. So as an international organizer over here from the States, Dr. Kuda, you would probably do something like go talk to the Sierra Leone president and say, well, let's partner up together and let's run programs together and raise funds together so we can get this water tower for you. And in the midst of getting this water tower for this Liberty Hall in Sierra Leone, we're going to bring in membership and we're going to bring in more resources and DECA money and so on and so forth. That's kind of like a brief. Is that what you're asking, Dr. Kuda? Something like that?
Yes, yes. On point. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you. That helps a lot. Thank you.
Okay, brothers and sisters, we still got, I think it's, yeah, we got a whole nother slide. How do we win a good reputation in the community?
Being good representatives of ourselves.
Yes. Mr. Garvey, he summarizes it in the following paragraph.
I think by being up to date with our personality.
Yes, that's what Mr. Garvey says. He expounds, win a good reputation in your community by being up to date in your personality. Let your individuality stand out clearly. Every man has an individuality. He is known by that individuality. The background of that individuality should be his clean-cut personality. So he's making the correlation between individuality and our personality, but we should be up to date. Yeah, that's what he says, up to date in our personality. Any questions on this? It's our own take on.
What exactly do you mean when you say up to date?
Just the modern standards of hygiene and appearance.
He said up to date in your personality.
Yeah, but this whole lesson we've been defining personality in regard to hygiene.
The different components of personality. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. I don't know if that one made it to the exam, but it is in the book. Next question. What characteristic can undo a good personality besides hygiene?
Laziness.
What's that? Laziness? Oh, I thought it was dishonesty. Yeah, I can see laziness. Laziness. Any questions on that? Okay, I can sense the questions. Don't be lazy in whatever you have to do because that laziness will grow on you. Basically, laziness will become a habit. Laziness is not it's not a characteristic associated with what Mr. Garvey calls perfect personality. People will observe you and mark you as being laziness. If news circulates, it will undo you. You say anything further? Yeah. So laziness. Avoid laziness. Pursue good hygiene and good appearance. And avoid also, what was it? How did he describe it? Let's see. Something about negative attitude. Distress on your face, despondency, or overburdening sorrow. So we avoid that. How is your reputation tied to your name? How's your reputation tied to our names? Brother James, you got your book.
I would say it follows you.
How would you say that? You
It
are
follows you wherever you go.
how? What do you mean?
You get stigmatized by your behavior, and so when you arrive, when you present yourself, people are expecting that of you, since you have already declared yourself by doing certain behaviors.
Yes. You took me a while to catch on, but yes, brother. I related it, or Mr. Garvey related it to work being done. So if somebody has to do something, whether it's sweeping the floor or folding a sheet, so if it's not done right, or if it's done very well, people are going to ask, who did this? Who did this work? And your name is tied to your work. So you want to have a good reputation. Oh, that floor, yeah, Brother John swept that floor. Sister Diane, cleaned that over there. Brother Macias, yeah, he was outside. So everything, that whole outside, he gets the credit for that. So um, that's how, and it works the same in the opposite when things are not maintained well. That becomes tied to your name as well. Who messed this up? Who cleaned this but left all of this in here? Who swept these floors but didn't sweep under here, right? So it's tied to you, Dr. Kuda.
From just what you said, just to add on to that, I remember when is it Reverend Shapsville, who spoke at Michael Jackson's funeral, and he mentioned how perfect Michael Jackson was in everything he did. It was like one man that he gave an example of a man who used to sweep one corner of a street, and that street was always clean, perfectly clean. So I'm just adding on to what you just said, that's what we should be thriving or striving for, to be that perfection, like Michael Jackson was.
Yeah, so we can't dismiss the aspect of the work that we do is also tied to our perfect personality, or the striving for a perfect personality. All right, we got to keep moving. We don't have time for further questions. We're getting a little bit behind. In regards to occupations, what does Garvey consider a waste of time? In regards to occupations, what does Garvey consider a waste of time?
I guess not knowing your purpose.
In a sense, in a sense. Not knowing your purpose, yeah, in a sense. Mr. Garvey says to carelessly choose your occupation or employment and find out afterwards does not suit your nature is a waste of time. But carelessly choosing our employment, in the later part of this lesson, Mr. Garvey will correlate that purpose and occupation with personality. And I don't want to say too much because I know the questions talk about it. Carelessly choose your occupation, not having a purpose or not understanding your purpose and choosing that occupation. When we are in the public eye, what should we try to maintain? Seems straightforward, kind of, but it could be like easily wrong at the same time. Dr. Kuda?
We should try to maintain the dignity of seriousness, or at least, be poised.
Dignity where I was going. I was gonna, character can fit. It's a lot of words that can fit in there, but Mr. Garvey says Always try to maintain dignity and of seriousness, or at least a poise that would suggest you are a person of dignified reserve. To go giggling and prancing and jumping about like a child stamps you as a clown. And I'm going to stop there because I know the next question talks about it. So we have an obligation to be serious. There are times for fun and games, but we must maintain dignity and seriousness, or at least poise, as Mr. Garvey says. In life and death, what three stages must we go through one time, and what must we do at each stage?
Read family, read first. When you're a child, act like a child. When you're teenager, act like a teenager. Adult, act like an adult.
You were close, brother. I thought you had it. You had a good start.
Child, act like a child. Adult, act like an adult. And in death, you dead? Of course.
Pretty much. Pretty much. And what's your understanding of that?
There's stages and phases. I mean, act accordingly to who you are and where you at. When you gotta present yourself accordingly to the stage you are in life. Time, place for everything. Grow up.
Isn't it some biblical verse related to that? You remember that? When I was a child, I thought as a child, or something like that. I don't remember.
When I was a child, I thought as a child. Now I'm old. I put away childish things.
Something like that, yeah. But yes, great job, First Vice President. A man must be a man, a woman must be a woman, while a child must be a child. You're a child once, a man once, and a corpse once. In three stages, you must behave in accordance to nature. So prance and giggle as a child. When we're a child, prance and giggle, have fun. But when it's time to grow up, be serious and dignified as a man, and rest peacefully as a corpse. We can still have fun and laugh and giggle as adults, but at the same time, when do we take on the responsibility of organization? When do we imply and enforce the structure of organization? So that's when I would argue we are carrying out what Mr. Garvey's talked about previously as our purpose. We are reclaiming our role as the men and women, the mothers and fathers of civilization. So, Sister Cecily.
Yes, I just wanted to say something.
Yes.
I'm listening, and I found this scripture that says, I tell you the truth, unless you turn and become like children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Matthew 18:3. I am very childlike, and I like that part of me, honestly. I'm like very joyful, and somebody's got to convince me that something's wrong with that.
Nothing's wrong with that, being joyful and having a youthful expression, because even in the Bible it says make a joyful noise unto the Lord. I don't mean to jump in like that, my bad, but just saying that there's nothing wrong with having a shine to your expressions, nothing having glitter to your soul. It's just about not being vulnerable or giving that light to the wrong people. I mean, even if you do, it's about knowing not being taken advantage of, knowing what you're dealing with and knowing what's around you. Vice versa. Hey, Sister Cecily, love you.
Brother Mason, I see you got your hand up.
Yeah, I think it's important for all of us.
Why he always be going out as soon as he about to say something good? Brother Mason. Y'all can hear me?
Context of an officer of the UNIA, especially when you're in that capacity, when you carry yourself in that capacity, then that's the time to be serious. But I'm not sure. I don't know what he was thinking, but I'm not sure if he's talking about how to carry yourself every day. So, of course, I love to have fun. People know that. But how I interpret it is that when I'm representing myself as an officer, then that's what time. Then I have to maintain that seriousness. So this
Yes.
is a course for those people who are aspiring to be leaders, and we should take it in that context.
Yes. And I would use the word capacity. So not necessarily we have to be serious and dignified all the time, but we must have the capacity to assume that role when the time comes. Um,
Right.
in regards to biblical, I don't have the passage that speaks to it, but when Jesus was betrayed and they were coming to get him, in the scripture, he talks about having a sword or two swords. And then in the garden, Peter was willing to chop off somebody's ear, So there are times where we are lax and we've got a lesson on winning mankind by kindness. But there also must be a time where we have to get into diplomatic mode, and that was a very serious lesson where he talked about diplomatically, we must be a scamp. We can't, anticipate everyone having that same spirit, that Christian spirit of love and charity. People out here trying to take advantage of not only us but our people. And now that we're assuming this role of leadership, the objects and aims speaks to our people must have individuals that are there for our protection and representation. And when we are in that protection mode, I would argue, we should be serious and dignified. But again, it's not a perpetual existence, but we must have the capacity that, hey, it's time. I think even in the scripture it talks about folly. There's a time for folly, but there's also a time, to do the work. So, Sister Cecily, so basically, emotional
Yes.
intelligence. I like that. Yes, I like that. Does that, I want to make sure you had a chance to respond or before.
Yeah, I think I get it. Basically, like, okay, you can't walk into a room full of aggressive people being all happy and joyful and nice, and you're gonna get ate up.
Yes.
And also you don't want to be coming in aggressive in a room full of joyful, happy people. Right. So like using your emotional intelligence, that's kind of what I feel that I'm getting
Mhm.
from this.
Right.
Okay.
I think that's a great takeaway. It's a great summary of that, and I think that's also goes to what we talked about earlier. I don't want to go too far, but it was talking about being up to date in your personality. So these concepts of emotional intelligence, I don't know if that was a major thing in Garvey's time, but for us to know that, utilize that, and be able to express that, I think that's a form of up to date personality.
Yeah, I wanted to, I guess, add a little bit to that too. I guess it's
Go ahead,
I
brother.
think up to date personality might have been a little something different. This one deals a little more with, I guess, a level of maturity.
Mm,
And when emotional intelligence is definitely important. That was a perfect word. Um, Mr. Garvey was one of the funniest people ever, and don't let nobody. I can show you so many jokes that he cracked in the middle of giving speeches that had people dying laughing, particularly when he talked about the boys. But Mr. Garvey was not a man who was anti-humor or anti-joy or anti-anything, strong, but just knowing when, to utilize it and not, getting a little, out of control like a child, like, the scripture that John had alluded to, President Hargrove alluded to earlier about when I was a child, I spoke like a child. What was it? I think like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put away childish things.
yes.
But you can still be humorous and still, behave like an adult. You can, at appropriate time, say a little something funny. It's good in the or given a proper oratory. You want to add a little bit of humor, sometimes a little bit of, emotion, drawing on the urgency of the time and doing certain things, but it doesn't have to all be super super overly professional either. So yeah, but being childlike and being childish are kind of two different things. One is being more
Good
meek,
point.
humble, and that kind of thing. And another one is, being silly and annoying, and it's another type of. So there's different types of children in the world. So be one of the wise children if you have to, be childlike, which is fine. But yeah, so I think you got it anyway. I just wanted to kind of throw that in there though.
Sure. Childlike, not childish. Good point. All right, we got a couple more questions. Let's run through these. What happens when we continue to make the wrong decisions in life long term? This feels like synonymous with the previous question or a previous question. What happens when we make the wrong decisions in life or continue to make the wrong decisions in life long term?
It becomes your personality. They
What's that?
spiral downhill.
Spiral downhill. I think anyone else? You're right, but there's a certain.
So it'll become habitual
Uh-huh.
and just the norm. Is this what you're practicing?
Yes. All right.
You'll whatever you practice, you'll become better at, even if it's something bad.
Yes.
And just to touch on the first point, when we're inviting, there's a time and place for everything. But when we're inviting people to functions, the UNIA, I think it's good to have a little music and have a little fun. Not just, we have to be people with a cause,
Uh-huh.
We have to have the aims and objective in the forefront of our minds, and we have to pursue those. But on the other hand, we should have a little fun, have some music, dance. Don't just appear to be like stuffy UNIA people. We want to attract people and attract young people, and they don't want to see a bunch of stuffy older people. They want to see people that are fun loving, but also are serious about the cause at hand.
Yes. I understand. I understand. I'll leave it at that. I don't want to keep going back and forth.
If I may just add, President John, because I located part of the answer where it says your life will end up as a complete failure.
Yes.
And never be able to master anything in your whole, your whole soul and heart.
Yes.
For me, this is a very tough lesson. I find it to be a very, very tough lesson. And we really have to find it in ourselves to be able to do these things. Some of this is not easy. As the answers are coming up, I'm like, is that really doable? Can I do that? Like this very one right now. This is a difficult one.
I understand. I think many of us go through those thoughts that you are expressing. How does this philosophy and teaching match up with our lives or how we've lived our lives? For me, I do understand that there's an aspect of survival. There's certain things that we have to do that we don't want to do, or not necessarily in line with our purpose in life. But I think having the overall understanding of what the end goal is, it makes it manageable, at least for me, because there's certain things that we'll have to do in order to get where we want to go. And I know others may may disagree with that compromise, but
No, because it's quite harsh to say your life will end up in failure. Because we make these mistakes every day. I look at my life. I'm 60 years old. I've been public health, business administration. You know, I've done this, done that. But does it really mean your life has end up in a failure? Today, now I'm doing what I'm doing. So, you know, when we're out there, what are we using as a measuring tool to success and failure?
You asking me?
I'm just saying, I'm not really actually asking you. I'm just throwing it out there that we should figure out when we're measuring ourselves, because this for me it can be very kind of um in a way demoralizing that your life end up in failure. Even the previous question about when you're not sure of your career, what you want to do, you know, then you are a failure, something to that regard. So the message is quite harsh, but I like the way you responded that, you know, we need to find ways how to go around these lessons that you know, that is how they apply, and how can we apply it to today, our lives today, because that time and the time now is completely different.
Yes, that's a very tough question that you asked, but
I, I
the
if I may,
go ahead, Lady President.
well, the part about I think I think that the part about being a failure is that we're not here forever. So I think it more speaks to trying to choose something that it doesn't, it's something that you enjoy, because you don't want to go a path for 10 years, which is a big chunk, and it's a path that doesn't bring you joy and fulfillment, and maybe you're just doing it because of a paycheck or whatever. And I can understand folks being stuck in that position, but maybe 10 years in, sometimes you just discover something else that you like, so you may not genuinely know. And I don't think anything is wrong with that per se, but or that someone is a failure. um Sometimes people find themselves in different ways, and not necessarily right after they leave high school. So I think he's just saying to know yourself, know your passion, know your likes, your dislikes, and choose. When you choose in a career, gravitate towards what brings you joy. Because if you don't, you may end up doing something for a number of years and then come to a point where you feel like you're stuck because you're just doing it for the check, or it doesn't bring you joy and fulfillment, and you feel like you haven't really done what you want to do in life. I think he's speaking more to that, but that's how I interpreted it. So it doesn't mean, that's what he
Thank
meant,
you.
but
Thank you. You've just opened another what's name in my mind that I wasn't looking at. Thank you, Lady President. That helps a lot. And
you're
for
welcome.
sure, what you are saying is out there. People are just in that job, maybe just for the paycheck, but they're not enjoying what they're doing. I hear you. Thank you.
Brother Morimar, were you going to make a comment? Or was that Omasius?
Yeah. I will. I wasn't. I know. I know we're trying to go, President. I know we got to move along. So,
Yeah.
but I feel like it's important for people to understand how much self-reliance God wanted us to have. How he wanted us to elevate ourselves to sit at the same seat with God. What he said in, I think, in the previous chapter. I think the level of failure. Oftentimes we will find ourselves in roles that we found ourselves in because we lack resources, confidence, and sometimes the will to do exactly the thing that we know in our heart we should be doing. And I feel like when we fall short of what our Creator intended for us to do, then that's the first level of failure. We may be successful in everything else, but there's sometimes a thing that the Creator's asking all of us to do that we don't accomplish because of the lack that around us. It can be resources, confidence, like I said, or just the will to avoid distractions. And we have to first look at and sit down and see what the Creator really asks us to do, or what's really our purpose. And when we do that and we don't go through with it, and we find another purpose that it was good enough, but not that thing, then I think that's a level of failure in itself.
Yeah, great point, First Vice President. I remember a quote. I don't remember the full quote, but Garvey said something about, and I was just listening to this speech. I think he was talking to the people, but first to thyself be true. So we must, that mirror, are we, forget what everybody else says, are we content or pleased with, the pursuits that we've made? And I think what I was trying to say is be patient with the course. When we get to lesson 20, titled Living for Something, not everybody is going to be able to have their dream job. I know, our parents and ancestors that came before us, many of them, again, had to do what they had to do to survive, but they were able to, provide a life and some level of comfort for us. So, if that's the case, if we're living for the next generation, I don't see a problem with that either.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, well, Sister Diane, Madam President, pretty much covered what I was talking about with the fulfillment part, sense of accomplishment. But yeah, basically, he's, and you also alluded to the same thing I was going to point to about the purpose. When you will have it's an old adage that if you judge a monkey by its ability to swim or a fish by its ability to climb a tree, both of them will be considered failures, and both of them will be, miserable in life and not have utilized the certain endowments and talents and natural gifts and inclinations that they have, and give them some sense of fulfillment. So, in general, you want to play to your strengths and do something that you actually are passionate about. Because if you're passionate about it, then you'll put your heart and soul into it, and you'll be quite successful in all that you strive to do. But if you're not passionate about anything and you just getting by, not really living, but just existing, then yeah, you won't feel as accomplished, and you won't feel fulfilled. So I guess what Mr. Garvey was kind of directing us toward is living a life where you're, if possible, your vocation can be your advocation, with something where you are doing, things, if you want to help people, hey, social work might be ideal. Making bullets in a factory won't be the same thing as, type of work you want to do. If you want to, build and go into construction, don't become a veterinarian. That's not going to give you that same sense of fulfillment. It could be good money, but it's still not going to make you, it's not going to be something you express the fullness of your talents and abilities into, your heart and soul is not going to be in it. So I guess, that's pretty much what he was directing us toward is, living according to what we're, really inclined and interested in doing, and not just, just to get by, So anyway, I think that point has been made pretty well.
Okay. Yeah, full expression, I think, is a good summary. But okay, we need to proceed for the sake of time. We done went through this lesson. Question. This ain't even 12. Next question. Before we can impress others and get them to follow you or follow us or intimidate or imitate us or accept our suggestions in anything higher in life, what must we first show? Before we can impress others and get them to follow us or imitate us or accept our suggestions, Dr. Kuda?
We should first show evidence of success in ourselves, evidence that we have been successful people.
Absolutely. Very straightforward. I think it, goes, I don't know if that's a form of hypocrisy, but we should not suggest things that we have not achieved ourselves, So if we, let me see, I'm trying to think of something, if we want to, I'm trying to think of something that's off the wall. Yeah, I mean, even if we talk about raising hundreds of millions of dollars, if we haven't shown some form of ability to raise funds ourselves, I think that's one quick example that I can point to. But Anything that we suggest, we must show some level of success in what we are suggesting. That is recommended. But don't be suggesting things that you don't have no qualifications or experience in. That's just not right. Any questions or comments? Okay. I'm gonna skip this one. Definition of impertinence and how it was used in this lesson. Impertinence. Impertinence. I don't even remember the definition of impertinence.
I remember this question. We did the same thing last time.
I can't say something. Impertinence. We're just gonna lack of respect, rude. Okay, yeah, it is impertinent for man. I think this is in relation to belief in God. There we go. Maintain good personality. System clear. Right. I don't know how to spell the word. Uh, okay. Oh, okay. So this is not about God. This is about asking people before you can impress others and get them to follow you or imitate you or accept any of your suggestions or anything higher in life, you must show evidence of success in it. No man who is not successful can teach others how to succeed. It is impertinence for a man who has not succeeded through his personality to suggest to other people how they can succeed. Therefore, make yourself a success, and others will follow your advice because they see success in you. Okay. And impertinence was lack of respect. Sorry.
Yeah, maybe if I could add to that one, I think the UNIA is doing this right now from what First Assistant President Duguay presented in the president's meeting and when they were dishing out the dividends. I think that's part of the success, that story that we are being told here, that you need to show that. I don't know. But to me, that's the first thing that came to my mind.
That is a valid example. Rock, and yes, the success that they have discussed.
And that gives us like a foundation to speak about the UNIA because we do have a success model of economy.
Yes, we do have something economic to point to. Okay, I don't want to sit on that too much. Next question. To maintain a good personality and robust individuality, what must we keep? To maintain a good personality and robust individuality, what must we keep? Dr.
You must keep your body in proper physical condition.
And I think the next question, best way to keep good physical condition?
Purgative weekly.
Weekly purgative, according to Mr. Garvey. Any questions on that? Okay. And as to what the benefits or how that would help, next question, last three questions. Why should we not try to make an important speech with a clogged system? And obviously, you should know a purgative is like a laxative, purge.
A clogged system will impact you
How?
physically. It'll impact you physically and mentally. When your system is clear, you function better, you feel better, and you think clearer.
Yeah, I feel like you said that you gave pretty much the opposite of what, and you're absolutely correct, but the way you worded it is the opposite. of how Mr. Garvey said it, because I think he went from the approach.
He says a heavy stomach or disordered stomach affects the whole nervous system, as the nerves are related in the human body and they depend on the stomach, chiefly as a main artery of supply. If the stomach grows sick, it sends poison throughout the whole body. Keep your stomach clean. It is better to be half hungry than wholly filled.
That sounds like lesson 4.
It's actually the one we're on,
It is?
I think. Wait, never mind. I don't know how I got to that.
I mean, it's a recurring thing, but I feel like
Yeah,
that.
I got to. I'm in the back somewhere. I'm sorry.
Right. Well, but again, you brought it from the clean standpoint, Mr. Garvey.
No, I'm at 15. It's personality.
Oh, okay. Where is that at? What page is that on?
It's on page 125.
How did you skip over this? Oh, you went down.
Last paragraph on 125.
Okay. What I was looking for was the first full paragraph.
Okay.
Never try to make an important speech with a clogged system. The poison of your system will get upon your mind and keep you so hazy in thought as to not reveal the mentality of your true self. A clogged system, as Lady President was saying, creates uh, a poisoned nervous system, and that will get upon your mind and make your thoughts hazy. So, when you're trying to make an important speech, you want your thoughts and your body to be free flowing. Not to say you want to go be running to the bathroom or anything, but all right. Any questions on that?
I wanted to second that. And you kind of hit where I was going to say, and not just only, and what Lady President Sister Diane was saying as well, not just only just, keeping your tummies clean of physical food, but keeping your hearts and your minds clean of metaphysical things as well. Because when you don't release those things out of your subconscious and out of your mind, it develops into like heart, what they call it, like chronic diseases, chronic illnesses. When you don't release hurt and pain, depression, anxiety, and all those things, the simple things in life, you have to, handle them soon as they happen. So remember to always metaphysically keep yourself clean as well. Right, first, 1 second.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Sister Ebony. All right, last 2 questions. Poison will get upon your mind. What does Garvey say is always a prevention against threatening disease? What does Garvey say is always a prevention against threatening disease? I think you were reading that, Lady President Diane.
Yes.
What was that? What was the prevention?
A purgative. Once a week, at least.
It's got to be stomach on this one. Clear system. Okay. Page 125. Not going to be a test question, but I don't messed up. Page.
So we need a clear mind, a clear body, and spirit. Yes.
Absolutely. I forgot the spirit aspect. Body, mind, and spirit.
That's right. You can't function one without the other. So you can't clean. And it's another. I'm just gonna sidetrack real quick because I love that same thing. I was just saying, but it's called the science or the book of the science or something like that. But it talks about how you can't function one body, mind without the other soul, and you can't function the soul without the mind and soul. All 3 of them have to be in a cleaner rotation. So that's dope. Race first.
Absolutely. All right, last question, and Lady President, I think you answered this one as well. What is the most important organ in regards to affecting the whole nervous system? This is kind of weird because now I would say it's something else, but
it's the stomach.
It's the stomach. Why? Yeah.
Why?
Well, no, I see it. I see it in the text, but why isn't it the brain?
Well, the stomach is, when the stomach is clean, you have clarity, you feel better, and therefore it impacts the mind.
Yeah. And some people even say that your stomach is a second brain. I've heard that as well. It supposedly has the same gray matter as your brain.
Yep, it does. It's like it's kind of like, I mean, I'm gonna explain it real quick, and I'm gonna do it like in like a little storybook form. But we have like we're dealing with the matters of chakras and energy points. The digestive system in the stomach is where you you digest it, you physically digest things, and you metaphysically digest things. So if you can't if I can't metaphysically get over something, it festers, and it festers inside of me because I don't talk about it. I don't feel about it. I don't do anything about it. I just let it fester inside of me. So if I'm letting this fester inside of me and I'm going to give a speech, I won't be able to give my perfect speech or be at my perfect stuff because I'm hoarding. I'm hoarding energy inside of me. So working from like in the brain part of myself, my upper aspect in my higher chakras, working from the root chakra, you go into the higher self. And my higher self, if I'm not able to release these hard intrusive thoughts out of my mind in some way, form, or fashion, then I cannot be able to produce. I won't be able to I won't be able to produce anymore, to create anymore, because my mind is stuck in 1976. You see what I'm saying? My tummy is stuck on the incidents that happened 40 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So it's important to change and cleanse yourself, like Lady President Sister Diane was saying, and what Garvey is saying. Race first.
Okay, brothers and sisters, very deep, in-depth discussion on lesson 15. Are there any closing questions? I'm not gonna rush us.
I, I, I did want to say one thing.
Go ahead,
I
first.
mean, just on a practical sense, how many of us ever been like fooled before? Like, how many of us ever like? I mean, how many of us ever had gas and trying to give a speech? I mean, you're gonna be thinking about that. You're gonna be like, I mean, you burp. You're gonna be, all these things just on the practical sense. I mean, when
Yes.
I'm full and when I overeat, my body feels it. I'm thinking about it all day long.
Oh yeah.
So just a distraction of thought. Um,
That's called itis.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes, a lot of times, I can't eat until after. I'm just nervous. I guess I don't know.
trying to hold in a past gas when you're on the stage. It's just,
That's terrible.
I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine.
I've
Luckily,
seen people I've seen people give speech and they're burping because they probably have a busy schedule and they're running to digest some food and running to give the speech, and it shows through. So I think if you have to do that, it's better to, like President John was just saying, to nibble on something that'll fix the appetite, maybe a banana or something.
yeah.
Nibble on that, and then after your speech, have the big meal. Because if you have the big meal and rush to speak without having it, getting a little bit of digestion, even half an hour before you do the speech, it'll, I've seen it even on these talk shows. People like burping and
yeah,
saying, excuse me, and they just had lunch and had to
Pastors
run.
do that a lot too. A lot of reverends do that in the middle of their service. They'll just be in the middle of just speaking and just get burping like, race first.
But yeah, luckily, we get this exposure before we have a lot of public speaking engagement. So we know, the practice and the behavior that we should carry into the preparation. And I think, yeah. All right, we need to get through our reading. Brother Mason, will you be reading for us? We probably ain't gonna be able to do one lesson, I'm pretty sure.
lesson 16, propaganda. Propaganda means to propagate or to make known extensively some particular phase of human intelligence. The desire is to convert or influence the people to the acceptance of the truth of that particular intelligence that is sought to be spread among them. Propaganda can be true or false in its origin or intent, but it is always directed at the public for the purpose of winning the support of that public to the sentiment expressed in the propaganda. If you hate a man, giving him a bad name well may explain one of the purposes of propaganda without truth behind it. Nearly all organized efforts have a system of propaganda to convert people to their principles and get them to support them, even though there may be no merit behind it at all. Propaganda is all around you to make you buy a special brand of cigarettes, although no good, but advertised to be the best, to make you drink or use a certain brand of tea, telling you it's of wonderful qualities and its everlasting benefits when there's absolutely nothing to it, and so on. Before the War of 1914 and 1918, the Germans were known to be the most cultured and scientific people in Europe. When the war started, the other nations, in order to discredit the Germans and to hold them up to world ridicule and the concept of civilization, released the propaganda that classified the Germans as Huns and barbarians. Though this also reveals how organized intention can be carried to the public for public acceptance without thought. The press, cinema, pulpit, schoolrooms are all propaganda agencies for one thing or the other. The pulpit carries religious propaganda. The schoolroom carries educational propaganda. The press carries out written propaganda. The platform carries on oral propaganda. The cinema carries on demonstrative propaganda. These methods have been devised by the white man to spread his ideas universally among men. This is why he is able, in a major sense, to control the minds of people of the world.
Hold on, brother Moses. Everybody mute the lines, please. I think I muted you, brother Mason. My bad. You got the floor, brother Mason. My apologies.
These methods have been devised by the white man to spread his ideas universally among men. That is why he is able, in a major sense, to control the minds of the people of the world. The white man is a great propagandist. He fully and completely realizes the value of propaganda. Therefore, you must organize your propaganda to undo the propaganda of other people if their propaganda affects your interest. The Bible is religious propaganda. The school book is literary propaganda. The novels and books you read are also literary propaganda, all calculated to bring about certain results beneficial to the propagandist. Never forget, then, that you are surrounded by a world of propaganda, all dressed up or cooped up to suit a doubtful public that is not careful about what it digests from without. The artist is also a propagandist. He paints pictures to convey the idea he wants to impress upon the non-thinking and doubtful public. The sculptor is also a propagandist. He chisels figures and portrays them to suit the aim or purpose he wants to achieve. The pictures of the Madonna and Christ and of the angels are painted portraying a white race so as to inflict upon the rest of the world the belief that God, the angels, and the Holy Family are all white, as well as Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve were black. They also paint the devil and the imps of the hell black to impress upon the world the belief that all that is black is evil and all that is white is good and holy. Tear from your walls all pictures that glorify other races. Tear up and burn every bit of propaganda that does not carry your idea of things. Treat them as trash. When you go to cinema and you use the glorification of others in the pictures, don't accept it. Don't believe it to be true. Instead, visualize yourself achieving whatever is presented, and if possible, organize your propaganda to that effect. You should always match propaganda with propaganda. Have your own newspapers, your own artists, your own sculptures, your own pulpits, your own platforms. Print your own books and show your own motion pictures and sculpture your own subjects. Never accept as yours subjects of another race, but glorify all the good in yourselves. Keep your home free and clear of alien objects of glorification of other races. Otherwise, your children will grow up to adore and glorify other people. Put in the place of others the heroes and noble characters of your own race. Never allow your children to play with or to have white dolls. It would give them the idea of having white children themselves. Give them the dolls of their own race to play with, and they will grow up with the idea of race love and race purity. Watch the newspapers, magazines, and journals daily for propaganda against your race or your institutions, particularly against the UNIA. Rush into print immediately a defense of your race, institutions, and organizations from any attack. Never allow any insult propagated to go unanswered by you. Be ever vigilant to down anything by way of propaganda that dishonors or discredits you. Don't help the other fellow to carry on propaganda against yourself or your race. All propaganda comes from the arranged desires of individuals and not from a race as a whole. It is the thinkers and leaders who originate propaganda by insisting on its wide distribution. They get other people to think as they like. Don't accept the thought of others through propaganda unless it coincides with yours. Don't follow the band down the street because it plays sweet music to the propaganda of the circus manager. He may lead you into the circus tent and take away your pocketbook. That is to say, don't get on anybody's bandwagon because he may drive you to hell with its sweet music. Like the Pied Piper of Hamelin, who played his sweet pipe and led the rats out of the city and into the sea and drowned them. Propaganda organized by someone else is always calculated to take advantage of you. Don't help them do so. Always ask, what is this about? What is the object of this? Who has sent this out? What is he aiming at? Will it hurt me and my race? Is he trying to get an advantage over me? Is it honest? Is it true? If you ask these questions of all propaganda that comes up before you swallow it, you will be able to take care of yourself. Don't sing the songs and repeat the praises that glorify other races. Sing your own songs and recite your own praises that glorify your own races. For instance, it is foolish for Negroes to sing or say, Britons never shall be slaves, when they themselves have been slaves and are likely to be slaves if they don't impress upon their minds that they, as Negroes, will never be slaves again. Sing, therefore, Negroes shall never be slaves. Be careful how you sing religious hymns that have been written, dished up, and made popular by white writers to glorify the white race in the name of God, taking advantage of the silence of God to impress inferiority upon your race, such as the great white wings of angels, the great white thrones of God. Watch me white as snow. All these are damnable vicious.
Excuse me. I hate to interrupt you, but I'm about to get off here. I just want to let everybody know, you know what I'm saying, race first, you know what I'm saying, everybody staying tight, you know what I'm saying, keep everything going like they're supposed to, you know what I'm saying. I'm about to get off here because my phone there go dead.
Thank you, brother Abdul. We appreciate you as always, my brother.
Wait first, brother.
Huh?
Stay in touch, my brother. We appreciate you coming on.
All right, cool.
All right, my brother. Brother Mason, my apologies again.
All these are damnable, vicious forms of propaganda against the black race. Though my sins be as scarlet, they shall be whiter than snow. Wash me in the blood, and I shall be whiter than snow. All these things reflect the propaganda designed by the white man to glorify his skin and his race as against the black man, black imps of hell, and the black devils and the black pill of doom. The idea of the white man making black a symbol of mourning and sadness is just to show the extreme of the purity of whiteness and its joy and happiness. Reverse this, if possible. Teach the Negro that when he is in mourning, he should wear white. Propaganda, he should wear white. And when he is happy, to wear black. This is meeting propaganda with propaganda, the hatchet with the hatchet, the stick with the stick, and the stone with the stone. Everything on earth is man's creation. So out of man's propaganda and mind, he has created his special systems of opinion to meet his design. Therefore, customs are based upon acceptance of propaganda skillfully engineered. Have your own propaganda and hand it down the ages. Write your own poetry and recite it. Compose your own songs and sing them. Write your own interpretation of the scriptures and history and teach them as far as the interpretation of others affect your race. Challenge the thoughts of any book of other literature that dishonors or discredits you in any particular way and give it to the widest publicity so as to undo the harm intended. Remember always that an error not corrected ultimately becomes a fact. Never allow false statements or allegations against your race to become current and pass into history as if they were facts. War. War is the hellish passion of man let loose in opposition to man. It sums up the cruelty of man towards man. It always aims at the stronger, taking advantage of the weaker to gain that which could not have been acquired otherwise because of the failure to use human reason. War comes when men fail to adjust their differences with reasoning. Always be prepared for the exhibition of the vilest passion of man in war. Man has always warred against his fellow man. It started with Cain against Abel and has continued down through the ages and shall ever be so as long as man remains an unreasonable creature. No generation has shown that man intends to become wholly reasonable. Therefore, in time of peace, prepare for war, so as not to be caught unprepared by your enemy, who will naturally be the stronger if he is prepared while you are not preparing and using the implements of warfare. War is not a good thing, but man is also not a good being. You must expect war from his disposition. All things are fair in war to win the advantage over your enemy. When there is war, use all of the implements at your disposal to defeat your enemy. Do not discuss terms while you are warring. Discuss them after you are victorious. When war comes, all resources of intelligence and wealth, all utilities, all are placed at the service of those who conduct the war to make them victorious on behalf of those for whom they are warring. Therefore, have in view the obtaining and controlling of all such resources, factories, and utilities that may be necessary as ammunition of war. There may be righteous wars as well as unrighteous wars, depending entirely upon the civilization that makes the war or defends itself in war. It may be war to put down human abuse in favor of human virtue. The war makers have always justified war in some way or another. If you become engaged in war, always have justification for your engagement. If the war is not yours, get something out of it before you go into it and complete it for the good of others. Never go into war foolishly. Never sacrifice your life without good results for your cause. War is the best time to take advantage of your transgressors. War is the best time to take advantage of your transgressors, whoever he may be. Whenever he is engaged in war and he promises you nothing, you will never get anything from him in time of peace. Therefore, during the time of war, make your bargains before you help anybody else in war. If you are suffering from the abuses of others and there should be a threat of war against them from some other source, encourage it because it will be your chance to force a square deal. The more other people war among themselves, the stronger you become if you exercise good judgment. Divide your enemies so as to gain your advantage. Always keep them divided so as to be able to gain the advantage. The only hope of escaping the hate and prejudice of other people is to keep them severely occupied with other problems. They have nothing else to attend to. They will concentrate on you and your problems will be aggravated. While others have gone to war, try to be at peace among yourselves to gather the spoils of war. Never talk war openly to your enemies, but be prepared for war. If you talk to it, they will become prepared waiting for you. Keep the other races divided and fighting each other as much as you can so as to take advantage for yourselves. If they have no other problem to occupy their time, they will turn to you and turn on you. Keep them occupied otherwise. The more you can confuse they are worrying over their troubles, the more time you will have to get out of your trouble.
We'll read communism next week. Thank you, Brother Mason. Excellent job. Any questions? 10:24, we're about an hour over. I need to just extend these to 10 o'clock. But yeah, we'll read lesson 17 next week. I don't have anything if y'all are ready to close.
Yeah, that was good. Listen, I love this chapter. I mean, I love all of them, but yeah, the propaganda is probably one of my top 5 favorites when it comes to psychological warfare for the mind of man, as Malcolm used to study, or what was that? Like Winston Churchill once said, what do you say? Propaganda is a way of
telling your enemy to go to hell in such a way that he asks for direction. But no, that was actually diplomacy. I'm sorry. But it's kind of intertwined together, I should say. But diplomacy and propaganda are two of my favorites. But propaganda, about the allegiance, and Mr. Garvey kind of connected it with the idolatry and with the deifying of the white folks and the demonizing the black folks at the same time by simple symbols in the church. And funny enough, one of the people who grew up in the Garvey movement was Kenneth Clark, who many people know from the White Dog, Black Dog Baby, um, example with the Brown versus Board of Education. So he understood some of that philosophy and some of those things early on. This black child is nurturing and raising this little white dog baby. Eventually, she's going to want to grow up and have some white children. But it's all psychological. But anyway, the fact that Kenneth Clark grew up in that, and then when it came time, this is an added piece of history, then I'll shut up. But at Howard University, and I'm writing a book on Howard and the Garvey movement. But at Howard University, when he was one of the board of directors, the students that took over the administration building raised the red, black, and green flag, and they vowed to change the name of Howard University to Marcus Garvey University. And he was the lead one objecting to the concept for some reason. I guess he just wanted, keep his house position. But anyway, that's an interesting, story that you probably won't hear other than in my book when it finally comes up. But yeah, that whole propaganda warfare is interesting. It can be used for and against us, and the drop of a dime, and people who once seemed sensible, who loved one person to hate the other, will flip around and love the other person to hate the other, and now understand what kind of game has been ran down on them. But yeah, even when it comes to music, my old teacher used to tell us, don't boogie to the beat until you listen to the lyrics, because all of it is propaganda. And they want you to think and feel a certain kind of way. So anyway, really understanding it and seeing it and knowing how it affects us in our personal lives before we just embrace it is important factors. I'm glad he brought all that out in that lesson. But yeah, that's a powerful lesson.
I was on mute. Thank you, Brother Moyama. Excellent context. Yeah, this is I forgot about war being a part of the lesson on propaganda, but I reserve my comments in detail for next week when we go over the questions, but I got a lot, to point out for this one. Very powerful. And we should understand this was, we could argue, Mr. Garvey's number one tool and effectiveness when we talk about organizing, specifically, promoting. This is before the time of social media and internet. With his publications, Mr. Garvey was able to get the word out to the masses of our people. So by the time he actually came to the city, everyone already knew, what the UNIA was, what the UNIA represented, what Marcus Garvey was trying to accomplish. So there's a lot we can pull away from this lesson, particularly in our time. So Brother Moyama gave very good insight, and I'll leave it at that. Anyone else?
The only way to counter it is with more propaganda.
Yep,
With
hatchet with the
positive.
hatchet, propaganda, propaganda. So yeah, and that's what I think. Honestly, that's a great point. I think that's what we're probably challenging. I don't know what the propaganda situation was in Mr. Garvey's time, but I would argue we have more competition. There's several media outlets and content creators that our people can get information from. So it makes it, our information that we put out either has to be much more on a mass level as far as people. Well, I mean, that's the same goal either way, but the quality also, if the quality can attract those from the outside. But propaganda, yeah.
Social media is something, particularly in this day and age now that many of the social media giants have been consolidated behind Donald Trump and his white nationalist propaganda. And he pretty much got direct access to all of them, sitting at his inaugural ball, waiting to support everything he does. And not only the information they put out and the content creators they generate, all these people that are social influencers, etc., professional propagandists. But even when we put out propaganda, sometimes we don't notice we've been shadow banned. So you put out some information, and all of a sudden nobody can find your name or can find your presentation or something you've done because they block everybody in the world from getting it without you even knowing it, until others have to, come directly exactly to your specific link, and maybe they'll get the information, but they can't search for anything. But there's all kinds of weapons of warfare that they're using against us, and make us think we winning, but we actually running in circles. But yeah, understanding all that is important to, having our own form of media, social media, as well as print media and other tools and weapons of warfare to to win allegiance of our race back toward the philosophy of race first. Anyway, we guess we get into that next week.
Absolutely. With that, I think we will close out. Lady President, would you do the honor, close us out with our motto and our slogan?
Certainly. Okay, brothers and sisters, if every one of you put your black fist in the air, repeat after me. One God,
One
God,
one aim,
one
aim,
and one destiny.
And one
one destiny.
destiny.
Africa,
Africa
Africa,
for the Africans,
for the
For the
African
Africans,
Americans,
those at home
those at home,
those at home,
and those abroad.
and those
and
those abroad.
Race first.
race
Race
first.
first.
Go in peace, family. Excellent job. We'll be back next week, and we do have